Hi, friends. So, yesterday we learned about verbs, and we learned that verbs are action words that we can do. So, we can run, we can eat, we can slide, we can jump. These are all things that we can do, and they're called verbs. And so, yesterday we read the book Who Hops? And then we listed several verbs in our journal. I think we listed the word run and jump and read and one other word too. And so today we are going to write another narrative this week that we are going to focus on using verbs or action words. So if you remember, a narrative is a story that really happened to you. You're the character, and there can be other characters too, but you are in the story. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Sometimes it has a problem and a solution. It always has a setting. And today, it's going to have verbs or action words that we can actually act out and do. So I'm going to share my story with you, and then you, with the help of a grown-up, are going to think of something that happened to you where you can include lots of action words. All right? So I'm going to turn you right here, and I'm going to share with you my picture, okay? I already have a picture ready to go, and I'm going to explain what my story is going to be about. Now, kind of looks like a monkey, but this is my dog. This is my dog, Leia, and some of you in my class have seen her. She's a Cocker Spaniel. She's like a medium blonde dog with some curly fur. And she's quite feisty. Like she doesn't sit still very well. So she's a good dog, but she's a very active dog. So my story is going to be about how one day she was outside and she jumped into a mud puddle. So can you imagine like jumping? She jumped into the mud puddle, and she's blonde. She has light blonde hair, and she had mud all over her paws, up her legs, under her belly. She was a mess. So then she ran all around the yard like a wild little thing. She ran all over the yard, and then she stopped and she shook. You know how dogs kind of go shake, 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 shake when they're wet or when they have stuff on them? She shook herself. So that's an action. She went shake, 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 shake. And all of the mud went flying off of her. And it was quite funny, but also messy. So that's my narrative. That's what I'm going to write about today. So, like I said, I already have my picture drawn. I'm going to write some of this with you, and but then I'm going to write some of it off of camera just to save time. So, because I want you guys doing more of the writing rather than you watching me write. So, friends, what I want you to do is go ahead and open your journal to the first blank page for a picture and writing. So, go ahead and pause this video and open your journal to the first blank drawing and writing page. All right, do you have it? Okay, now you're going to take a pencil, because remember in kindergarten, we always write in pencil in our journal. You're going to be able to use marker to color with and do your picture. But when we write with a pencil. So the first thing we do is always the same. We pick up our pencil and we write our name. Now I'm using a marker so that you guys can all see this a little bit better. So friends, why don't we all do this together? Go ahead, pause the video, and write your name. Okay, I'll give you just a second to get that finished. Okay, now we're going to write our date. Today is Thursday, December. Oh, I just lost it. I had it in my head. Hang on, friends. I think it's the 8th. No, it's the 10th. Oh my goodness, I'm glad I checked. It is Thursday, December 10th. So December, if you remember, is the last month of the year. So that is the number 12. So the first thing we are going to write is the number 12, 1 and 2. Then we're going to draw a slash. And then we are going to write the number 10. And a slash. And then our year is 2020, so we are going to write the number 20. Okay, now you can go ahead and put your pencil down and just watch me. We're going to need a spacer, space stick, and you're also going to need a pencil when it's time for you to write. All right, so like I said, I already have my picture drawn. So one of the first things you're going to do is you're going to draw your picture, okay? But I already went ahead and did that just to save us some time. Now I'm going to write my story. So I'm going to start my story by saying, one day my dog jumped into the mud. So I'm going to pause this. You don't need to pause it, but I'm going to pause this. I'm going to write that and I'm going to come back and show you in just a minute. All right, so I wrote, one day my dog jumped into the mud. So can anyone pick out my verb or the word that I could actually act out? One day my dog jumped into the mud. Jumped, yes, you can actually jump. You can jump into the mud. So that's my verb. All right, so now I'm going to write about what happened next. I'm going to say, then she ran around the yard. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to come right back. Okay, take a look at what I did. I wrote, then she ran around the yard. Do you hear an action word that you can do and actually act out in our sentence? Then she ran around the yard. Ran? Yeah, that's definitely an action word, right? All right, so now I'm going to write what happened next. She shook and the mud flew off of her. So I'm going to write that and I'm going to come right back. Okay, take a look at my sentence. She shook and the mud flew off of her. Friends, do you hear any words that show action that we could actually act out? I think there might be more than one. She shook and the mud flew off of her. Shook? Yeah, dogs like to shake, right? If you have a dog, you know what I mean. Cats do it too. And flew, right? The mud flew off of her. Good. So this sentence has two verbs. All right, I'm going to have to turn my page to finish my story today. I'm going to finish my narrative with a feeling sentence. It was funny and messy. All right, I'm going to write that. I'm going to come back. All right, so I have it was funny and messy. Are any of those words you can act out? It's kind of a tricky question, isn't it? Actually, no, they cannot be acted out. These are describing words. Funny describes the feeling, and messy also describes what was going on. So those would be, remember adjectives? Those would be adjectives, all right? So friends, let's take a look at my whole narrative now, where I was focused on writing verbs in my narrative. One day, my dog jumped into the mud. Then she ran around the yard. She shook and the mud flew off of her. It was funny and messy. So friends, I have several verbs that describe the time my dog got into the mud. So what I want you to do with the help of your grown-up is think of a time when something happened to you where you can use a lot of action words, okay? So maybe you can describe a time when you played a sport and you can describe what you did to play the sport, like running or jumping or kicking or flipping or whatever the sport is, twirling. Maybe you could describe or write a narrative about a time you went on an adventure, like a hike or like a camping trip or any kind of a trip. And you can talk about the things that you actually did, the active things like walking or climbing or camping or cooking or any of the things like that. Okay. So think of a time, and hopefully your grown up can help you. Like, and think of a time that you could talk about. Also, pets, if you have pets, if you have maybe a funny story about a pet that did something silly like I did, and you can have action words like running and jumping and shaking and flying like Leia did. So so there's lots of different things that you can write about. All right. So that's what you're doing today is you're writing a narrative, but this time our focus is going to be about verbs. Okay. Action words like run and eat and slide and jump. All those words that we can act out. Right, friends? So here's what I want you to do is write your narrative. If you are not able to finish your whole narrative today, because you are going to draw and write today, if you don't finish today, that's okay. You're going to pick one of your stories from the week and finish it tomorrow. Okay? All right, I can't wait to see these action words in your story that you're going to use. All right, have fun.